Hey guys, Defaultalizer here. Anyway, with my top 10 worst game theory videos on the rise, I think I might as well make a little video game theory of my own. If you recall in my response to game theory, Mario's Mental, you'll know that I said that there are no official Mario timelines, and that is true, but I thought I'd make my own Mario timeline. It's gonna be sort of my theory as well as how the games, progress, what order they come in, as well as a couple other theories. Now, here are a few rules. One, this timeline is not canon, nor are any of the theories I have canon, nor am I claiming them to be, but I think they're pretty good theories. And the second is the fact that this is only going to be canon Mario games. No crossovers, no comics, no TV show, no fan games, just Mario games. So with all that said, let's begin with the first game in the Mario timeline, which, ironically enough, is also the first game that was made with Mario in it. Or rather, not with Mario in it. It has Jumpman in it. Now, a lot of you may be saying, wait a minute, aren't Mario and Jumpman the same guy? And true, you may think that. Well, here's sort of my first mini theory. You see, know how the Donkey Kong we see today is essentially the son of the Donkey Kong right here? Well, if that's the case, then wouldn't today's Mario also be the son of the Mario we see here, or technically Jumpman as he's known, probably a nickname he got for being good at jumping by his friends on the construction site. Besides, does the girl in this picture look anything like the Pauline we know today in the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games? No, I don't think she does. Now here's the game in which you probably expected to be the first one, Yoshi's Island. In this one, Mario just being a baby, really. And yeah, Mario's a baby, what else can I say? But this also applies to the rest of the Yoshi's Island series of games coming directly after this one. And heck, it's even seen that Mario and Donkey Kong were babies at the same time, further proving my theory about how Jumpman being Mario's father and not actually Mario. Next, the only really other time we see Mario and Luigi as babies, aside from the sports and Mario Kart games, which I'll get to explaining, is Partners in Time, in the past segments at least, and really this would come after Yoshi's Island for two reasons. One, the baby bros were being carried by storks there, and two, they're a lot capable of doing things like walking around wearing overalls, fighting, wielding weapons, much more advanced than the babies who had to ride on Yoshi's back. Next, after Mario and Luigi grew up and moved out of the house, they got jobs as plumbers and were plumbers in the game Mario Bros. Next, we get to the Mario we all know and love in Super Mario Bros., where Mario gets a notification from the Mushroom Kingdom that the princess has been captured, and being the courageous hero that he is, goes out to help him. Luigi, wanting to support his brother, but being overall a coward, reluctantly goes and only shows up if you have a player too. Next came Super Mario Land and Super Mario Land 2. I put them this early because, you see, Mario wouldn't have allowed Daisy to go in for a kiss like that had it been later in the timeline and he had been closer with Peach. The second reason is because Wario gets introduced pretty early, and I honestly think that would be pretty important for this timeline. Basically, once Mario beats him and takes back his own castle, then Wario goes to raid other lands in the Wario Land games and Wario World. Next came Super Mario 3D Land and Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. Really, you can put these two in either order, it doesn't really make that much of a difference in the timeline. Next is Super Mario 64. After Mario and Peach had become well acquainted, Peach eventually invites Mario over to the castle for some cake, while Bowser also takes advantage of a more advanced plan with the whole stars and stuff. Eventually, Peach trusts Mario enough to go on vacation with him, which she gets kidnapped on Yoshi's Island, where Mario meets Yoshi for the first time in his adult life, hence why Yoshi explains who he is here, and also Bowser recruits the Koopa Kids for the first time. Now, it's been confirmed by Shigeru Miyamoto that the Koopa Kids are not in fact Bowser's kids, but rather an elite group of minions, and I'd buy that. I mean, it could have been a youth program that Bowser had, like, Help the Almighty King Bowser, send your kids to help today, and the 7 Koopalings were the most elite out of all of them and were hired to guard his castles. Flash forward a couple years later, Bowser actually has a biological child of his own, so due to this he keeps his kidnapping plans a bit more low-key. Several years later, Bowser goes on vacation with Junior and decides to use it as an opportunity to give Junior a new toy and, while doing that, ruin Mario's reputation. Now, I bet there's a lot of questions that, because it's not really answered, as to why Egad gave Junior the magic brush in the first place, and I have 3 theories. One, Egad wasn't 100% sure what it did and he needed someone to test it out, and Bowser, I guess, had a lot of coins to pay him with, so he sold it. Second, he didn't really know much about Junior, and, didn't know who he was, so he didn't know he'd be causing trouble. Or 3, Egad's morality is kinda questionable, to say the least. I mean, sure, he helps the Mario and Luigi out along the way, but he also traps innocent ghosts in paintings, treats his interns like crap. Next are the new Super Mario Bros. Games. Basically, here, there's not really much to say. It's Bowser with, for the most part, somewhat more low-key, like compared to, say, Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Galaxy plans that, also involve Bowser Jr. and the Koopalings, so it's clear that they've been introduced by this point. I don't really have much else to say, though. Eventually the Koopalings quit, I guess, because they're tired of working for Bowser, but Bowser doesn't let that stop him. He pulls off his biggest plan yet, which he based off his plan in Super Mario 64, because here he steals from Rosalina, and even lifts Peach's castle straight into the sky. His biggest plan yet, going into space, all this, and he just wanted to do it to prove that he is not done. Then he did the same thing in Galaxy 2. Another thing about Galaxy is after Mario saves Luigi here, it's a wake-up call to Luigi to stop being so useless and actually try to help out his brother. Luigi goes back to Galaxy's Mario already had to make sure that there weren't any power stars that he missed, and also in Super Luigi Galaxy plays all the levels himself. Next came the Mario and Luigi games, where Luigi went on a bunch of adventures with Mario, granted sometimes against his will. Now, there is evidence saying that each game came in the specific order that it was released. And the majority of that evidence comes in the form of Fawful, who, in Partners in Time, explains how in Superstar Saga he got beaten down by Mario and Luigi and how he was sick of them and was eventually going to get revenge, which he did in Bowser's Inside Story, so that already puts the first 3 games in order. And in Dream Team, both Starlo and the Elite Trio make a reappearance. And it's clear that this came afterwards because Starlo and Mario, Luigi, and Peach recognize each other, and Starlo also recognizes the Elite Trio. So it's clear that had they had already met before, which was Bowser's Inside Story. Next come the Paper Mario games. Now, I know what you're saying right now. How can these come afterwards? Because, everyone's made of paper. Well, here's the thing. Towards the end of the original Paper Mario, the thing is, it's revealed that Mario was actually telling Luigi the story, and that's what it was the whole time, Mario telling the story. But the thing is, while the paper representation is just the characters telling the story, I think it's safe to assume that these events also happened. Now, I'd say they come all in the same order, but Sticker Star is the most sort of basic story, so I think that one actually came first. Aside from that, though, I think they all came in the same order. Now, here's something I'd like to explain, the whole diary evidence in my game theory video. You see, I have a different theory in this timeline that changes what the whole meaning of Mario not letting Luigi come on the quest really is. You see, Mario wants Luigi to be a great hero just like he was, but the thing is, Luigi won't become such a great hero if he just keeps tagging along in his brother's quests. Mario doesn't let Luigi tag along here in hopes of the fact that Luigi will have his own adventures to tell about, instead of just being the second wheel on Mario's adventures. That way Luigi will become a better hero. And in Thousand Year Door, it turns out it actually worked. If you talk to Luigi, he'll tell you about all the great adventures he had saving Princess Eclair of the Breakfast Kingdom, I think it was. I forget. It's a really weird story. But it was an adventure that Luigi had. Also, Thousand Year Door comes after this one, after the original Paper Mario, because, again, a lot of the characters connecting between the 2 games. Anyway, after Mario and the gang stopped Count Bleck and Dementio from pretty much wiping out all of existence as they knew it, it was a very peaceful time in the Mushroom Kingdom. Everyone was just happy to be alive, really. They did a lot of different fun stuff like sports and kart racing, and heck, there were even ceremonial Mario parties, I'm assuming organized by Toadsworth, that even had Bowser play a ceremonial role as the bad guy who screws people over just like he used to do. Now, here's what a lot of you guys are probably thinking. How can the baby versions of characters be in the Mario Kart games? Well, this I will explain to you. It was confirmed in Partners in Time that time travel is in fact possible in the Mario universe, so it would make sense that people would time travel to this particular time period, as it was the best the Mushroom Kingdom had ever been. Now, there have been some theories that Super Mario Bros. 3 actually is a play, whether it be the curtain opening up at the beginning or some of the objects casting backgrounds onto the sky. And to be honest, I think that actually is the case. Super Mario Bros. 3 is a play. It's a hid play in the Mushroom Kingdom, depicting a made-up adventure that Mario went on, incorporating several elements from his actual adventures, like, say, the Tanuki suit from Super Mario 3D World, or the Koopalings from a bunch of his other adventures. With all this hype around the plumber, business tycoon Pauline ended up building a business to make a toy line of Mario, that way to capitalize on his popularity, and Mario agreed to help out with this. It's revealed at the end of Minnie's March again that Donkey Kong was actually helping them out test the toys. But Mario wasn't in on this, and that probably makes sense because he's busy doing other stuff and not really looking after the company. I'd also say this is about the point in time where Wario instead settled down and decided to make video games to make money instead of stealing it from land. But then, one day, the peace gets broken by none other than Bowser, the guy who was pretty much the cause of all the anguish in the Mushroom Kingdom to begin with. He ends up kidnapping the Sprixies, I guess that's what he was doing instead of kidnapping Peach, and everyone goes after him. Also, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker happened directly before this game, so it's clear where that one falls on the timeline. And Super Mario Bros. 2, while it's technically a dream, so it could technically fall anywhere on the timeline, it most likely is here because of the fact that Mario just had an adventure like this with him and the other people having the exact same attributes, so it would make sense he'd have a dream like this afterward. Now, at the end of the timeline comes the Luigi's Mansion games. There's several things pointing towards this, but the biggest one is that Bowser is dead. Don't believe me? Take a look. First reason is that King Boo has this as revenge for Mario, because Mario caused him a ton of trouble in the past, but the thing is, you never fight King Boo in any of the Mario games. You only fight him once. You may be saying that, oh yeah, you fight King Boo once in Super Mario Sunshine, but there's two things wrong with that. One, I don't think one loss is enough to garner a whole vendetta, and especially considering it was an inconsequential one. And two, if you look at this King Boo, they're clearly not the same guy. The second thing about King Boo is that he's inside a Bowser suit, which, even if he's not Bowser, he has a strong closeness to Bowser. But here's the evidence that I think is the real nail in the coffin. When you go to see Madame Clairvoyant, she'll tell about things when she finds your stuff. But one of them, she talks about Bowser, the last one. And the way she describes Bowser kind of makes things seem there. She says that she's surprised to see the hideous form of Bowser and thinks Mario has soundly defeated Bowser. Now, Mario's defeated Bowser many times before, but soundly defeated him and being surprised that he's here could only mean one thing. In a game that hasn't been released yet, or probably won't ever be released, Bowser did something unforgivable, and in probably their biggest fight yet, Mario permanently kills Bowser. Now Bowser as King Boo still is a leader of evil, and uses all his resources to get revenge on Mario, the guy who killed him. Not to mention the guy who was the bane of his existence for years, the only person who ever stood in the way of his plans. That's what he does in his afterlife, spending it to make sure Mario never sees the light of day again. Really though, the Luigi's Mansion games being at the end of the timeline makes Dark Moon a really satisfying conclusion for the series if you think about it. You see, Mario here is not just happy because Luigi saved his life. Granted, he obviously is happy about that, but that's not the only reason. Mario's also really proud of Luigi. His younger scaredy cat brother managed to be just as much of a hero as Mario's able to. If you really think about it and put all these sort of things in perspective, part of the thing the whole Mario series is about is the relationship between Mario and Luigi. Well, that was my Mario timeline theory. As I'm saying, this is just a theory and it is in no way fact, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And let me know in the comments what sort of Mario timeline you think of in the comments. And just letting you guys know, this whole theory thing isn't going to be a regular thing for me. This was sort of just like a one-time thing, because I kind of wanted to make this. With all that said, guys, I'll see you all later in in my top 10 Smash Bros. Wii U characters list. See you guys then.